Okay, everybody, we have senior Aamir Simms. Please go ahead with questions.
Hey, Mayor, it's Trevor Gross from CUTigers.com. How emotional do you think you'll be before you take the court for senior day tomorrow? Potentially your last game in Littlejohn.
Definitely very emotional. I'm not really an emotional person, but I just take a small time to reflect on my time here and just everything that, we've accomplished as a program in my 4 years. It'll definitely make me a little teary-eyed, but I don't think, I'll be that emotional. I kind of was the first game that we had here. I think it was against South Carolina State. I had a little moment to myself, but I don't think I'll be really emotional, but I'll definitely take some time to sit back and reflect on my time here in my 4 years.
Hey, Aamir, it's David Hood. From your, growth as a player to your Twitter posts making fun of John Newman to this being a great year in your last season, it's been an incredible ride. What's your fondest memories of your time at Clemson?
Definitely freshman year, just that group was very special and probably one of the best groups I've ever been a part of, from an athletic standpoint, and just, going to Spain and just bonding with each other and getting really close. And then that year just being what it was just something I won't forget for sure. Definitely the UNC win. That's probably would be number one. But honestly, I'll definitely take my junior year the most because that taught me the most lessons about being a leader and just the experience of having to, be in many places at one time and just, being expandable and kind of doing the most that you can for your team. And my junior year is probably one year that I won't forget out of my collegiate career because, just like I said, it just taught me a lot. We've accomplished a lot, and, through the big wins and the terrible losses. That was just a very memorable year that I would not forget. But I definitely got a lot that I haven't really thought about, but I definitely do that more towards after the season.
Hey, Aamir, this is Will Vanderbilt with Clemson Insider. Kind of playing off of that, you talked about your growth. How much of that was Coach Brownell, and what's that relationship been like?
He plays a huge part. We've had many conversations where he's pulled me aside after practice or before practice and just kind of spoke for like 10 to 15 minutes about what I want to accomplish, the progress I've made, and what I can improve on, continuously improve on. And I definitely think he's played a huge role in that and just making sure I keep that confidence and, keep that same work ethic that I came in with and just, always staying hungry and wanting to be a better person and a better player and just, having that hunger to keep growing. But he's definitely played a huge part in that for sure.
Aamir, this is David Teal with the Times-Dispatch in Richmond. You mentioned earlier that you're not necessarily an emotional person, but what were your emotions last year being on the court when the ACC tournament was canceled? And how eager are you guys to get back on that court next week?
I was kind of in shock, kind of just caught up in the moment, not really sure what to expect or what was going to happen next. None of us knew that the world was going to change that day. But I think in that very moment, I was very kind of just like in a twister and just like the person next to me trying to figure out what was going to be the next move and just in shock and kind of just in that moment, just experiencing just like everyone else. But we're definitely eager to get back. We had some pretty good momentum going into that game. And, we haven't really thought too much about the tournament right now. We're just focusing on Pitt tomorrow. But we're definitely eager to get back out there and play. And, tournament time is always the best, whether it's a conference or the big dance. So we're definitely excited to get out there and play for sure. But right now, we're just focusing on Pitt.
Could you ever have imagined what the last year has been like?
Honestly, no. I've been getting a lot of texts talking about, I think it's been like a year or so since like that day has happened. But it's definitely been a whirlwind of a year, I think. Just life period. And from an athletic standpoint, it's definitely been challenging, having games postponed or canceled. And, a lot of people's careers being affected by that. But I haven't really thought too much about it. And, I just take every day for what it's worth and one day at a time.
Hey, Aamir, how often do you think back to that moment when you found out you're on the court and everything got canceled? And are you kind of using that as motivation as you go forward this year?
Honestly, this semester alone, I probably thought about it every other day, just thinking like, man, like what if that would happen again? I was talking to JB the other day and we were like, man, what if we get there and the same thing would happen? Like that would be a bummer, because we remember what it felt like, just watching Tevin and Curran and Paul just be really emotional and kind of caught up in the moment with tears and stuff like that. And I would hate for that to happen to me and JB and Clyde as well. So, it's kind of funny you ask that because, like I said, me and JB were just talking about that, but pretty often this semester at least.
Aamir, Larry Williams with TigerIllustrated.com. Given the distinct and kind of unique nature of Syracuse's zone defense, do you think your struggles offensively inside the 3-point line, is that something where you just sort of flush it and throw away the film, just given the unique nature of that particular challenge, or is it something you can actually sort of work on heading into tomorrow's game, like address it specifically?
Honestly speaking, a game like Syracuse, you gotta watch and learn. You should watch and learn from every game, whether you perform good or bad. But when you play a team like Syracuse with their unorthodox zone, there's definitely sweet spots. And when we played them the first time, I found those sweet spots, and I was hitting those shots, all night. But that's definitely a game you don't want to just flush away because it's an opportunity to learn and progress from. But I think it was more so just learning the spots and getting them and finding them and just finishing around the rim. It was nothing that they really did. It was just like tough spots that we were kind of putting ourselves in. We wasn't being aggressive, and that's something you watch from and you learn from film. So it's definitely not a game you want to just flush away, but you can always learn from it as well.
I think Coach mentioned the fact that nobody was in the building might have had an effect on y'all's energy. Can you reflect on that? Was that a factor looking back?
Not necessarily. You never tend to want to let the crowd kind of dictate how you perform, and it definitely gets boosted at times. But I don't think them not having any fans, was the issue because we played at a place where there wasn't any fans. But some might argue that it did, but me personally, I don't think it had any effect on how we played. We just didn't come in aggressive and set the tone early with our team.
Hey, Aamir, this is Todd Shaughnessy in Greenville and Spartanburg. You're fluent in sign language, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Just
how did you get into that?
Honestly, my teammate, my freshman year, Malik William, he was taking a class at the time, and he used to come home talking about it. And after a while, I needed a language for my major for sure. So just talking to Malik, he just, spoke it into me and just, sparked my interest level. And I thought it was pretty challenging, just a fun way to learn a new language. And it was kind of fun for us at the time as a little inside joke to whenever coach would like make us mad or something, we would sign something to each other. But after a while, I just kind of really bought into it.
So when you watch the governor give like COVID speeches, you're watching the sign guy.
I actually saw that when we were at Syracuse, they was doing that on TV. And I haven't taken it in almost a year, but I was definitely trying to dial in and focus on what the lady was saying. It's challenging because they sound a lot faster, but I picked up on it a little bit.
What do you like about that?
Sign language is definitely fun, being able to talk without using your mouth and just using straight hand gestures, and it's almost like acting it out in a sense. So it's kind of a fun way to learn, a fun way to express yourself without using your words.
Any more questions for Aamir?
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Aamir.